Hi there, I'm Chris Kendall, founder of Fulfilled After 40, the podcast. Today is our premiere episode. We are going to be talking to a client who is a business coaching client. She's just getting started on a consulting business and a nonprofit, but we're going to focus on some of the early stage things she needs to do to sort of get herself set up to start putting her offer out into the world. So that should be exciting. All right. So today we're going to be talking to Lisa. Welcome, Lisa. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to find out, how can I help you? What would you like to talk about today?
So one of the biggest initiatives or adventures that I'm embarking on is starting a national society. And we realized as we were going down that path that it might be beneficial and be a great partnership to also start a consulting group. So I just wanted to get some insight from you on some of the things we should be doing. Just in general, starting a new business. I've never had a business before. There's a partnership. There's three of us that are going to be embarking on that. So just wanted to get some insight from you, and I know you have a lot of experience. I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the things that I like to do with new coaching clients, definitely will go through all of the steps as you're um, taking on each piece. Setting it up, kind of defining your audience. Who would you say your like target group that you're going to be selling to? For example, who are
Mhm.
you trying to talk to?
So one of the gaps that we identified in our so I work for a hospital. I'm an oncology pharmacist by training. One of the things that we identified was that there isn't a central organization for collaboration. So the problem is we don't have major guidelines for certain aspects of doing clinical trials in a hospital setting, and we really think that it's really critical for equitability for patients to make sure that there's some kind of continuity across the nation. So our target audience is really um, it can be sponsors, so, pharmaceutical companies, it can be um, small sponsors that are just maybe have one product. It could be hospitals that are just starting to trial new research organizations. So kind of any aspect of it, because clinical trials can be done in any setting. So just pretty much trying to find those people and make sure that they have a good resource for continuity of care and equitability across these different types of clinical trials.
Okay, so specifically with the consulting side, what will you offer? Like, how will you make their life easier? When you get in front of your client, what is the thing that they are having trouble with that you guys are going to make better?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we've been thinking through how we can best start out, and what we're feeling is um, probably some standard operating procedures, some what services should be offered by different research organizations, and then just kind of start to finish what are all the different aspects that go into receiving a clinical trial, servicing that patient, and then even to continuity of care after a clinical trial is over. So we wanted to provide some insight to what we feel works, and kind of help them build a really good foundation for expansion, because once you start doing clinical trials, usually you want to expand that to other clinical trials, get more patients, those types of things.
Okay. So because you're calling it consulting, the three of you will do the work for them. They will hire you and you will do this piece of work.
Yes, so we can review protocols. We could do feasibility studies. A lot of times it doesn't transfer from the clinical trial design to application, so actually doing it in a clinic or a hospital setting. So that's a big barrier a lot of times. So yeah, we would kind of do one-stop shop. I mean, there's pretty
Okay.
much nothing that we couldn't offer, because we come with pretty significant years of experience with the combination of us.
Okay. And so these are the people or hospitals or sponsors, they already are running clinical trials and you're just going to help them streamline their current process, or are they brand new and they don't know how to get started?
Yeah, so pretty much all of that. So some of
Okay.
them already are established, but just don't know how to kind of get to the next level. And I know that you have some background in kind of taking things to the next level, which I think will be really helpful. And then some of them are just brand new. They're just like maybe it's their first trial and it's a small company. They have one drug and they got lucky and there's a great product and they want to bring it into human clinical trial and they don't know what that looks like or how to do that. So we would hopefully help them there too.
Okay. So one thing that I've learned is that it's even if you're able to support all the people doing all of the things, it helps a lot in the way that you present yourself to your clients and also the way that they figure out how to work with you. If you niche down a little bit, like
Mhm.
if you could choose of those groups, where do you feel like you could have the most impact? Is it people just getting started? Is it brand new programs? Is it already established programs that are just kind of a mess? Like, where do you feel like you'd have the most impact?
That's that is actually a really good question because there is only three of us and there's only so much time in the day. So I think probably the for the consulting business specifically, I think people that are just starting out that really
Okay.
don't have anything established, and bringing resources and information to them and kind of doing some of that foundational building.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. And so who are the people that are just starting out? I mean, I don't know, like do new hospitals just pop up every day, or are these new physicians, or who are they?
Yeah. So it can be a gamut of things. So sometimes there will be a small hospital, maybe a community hospital, and they realize, hey, we would love to start doing clinical trials here, but we don't know how to do that. We don't even know how to get started or who would be involved. So we could definitely do consulting there. That would be a really great opportunity just because that's our kind of our bread and butter. There's also some providers, so different clinics. It can be like a shared clinic or just like, maybe it's a provider and he's like, hey, I noticed that all my patients get X and I see that there's a trial that's available. I would love to support my patients. So sometimes it could be as simple as just a provider's like, hey, I want to do clinical trials. Like, how would I do that in my clinic? So I think it could be any of those types of things. Usually with the major academic centers that I work at, we have a group for that. So I don't know that that's a great target. I think the national organization that we're starting would be the nonprofit for that would be great. This is really to help people that they don't necessarily have the resources to hire somebody or hire a team. So who could help that they already have with that, or would
Yeah.
they just take us on and we would kind of get them set up and started? So does that kind of make sense of who we're looking at?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and that's good. I think that it makes a lot of sense that you would go to offer your services to a doctor, provider, small clinic, hospital, whatever that's never done it before, because then you could kind of put together like a getting started package
Mhm.
that has all of the essential things that need to be done,
Yeah.
and you can kind of offer that as your starter kit,
Oh yeah,
however
that's a
that
great
is.
idea. Yeah.
And then, as they say, well, we don't really know how to do any of the pieces in this kit, and then they can hire you to do that. So that's
Yeah.
one way of getting it out to a lot of companies or a lot of organizations, without you three having to go through these steps over and over and over again with the same people.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so let's talk a little bit about like how you would pitch to one of these companies. So let's say, like you mentioned, a small hospital is thinking about adding clinical trials. Do they make money from it, or what is their reason to do it?
A lot of yes, the providers do. get revenue from the companies that, a lot of them are biotech companies or pharmaceutical companies. And so they do get reimbursement for that. So that's one advantage. But I feel like a big reason that a lot of clinical trials are done are more philanthropic. It's really to help, you're noticing like over and over the same disease state or something like that. And you're like, these patients don't really have all the opportunities to trial some new drugs. Maybe it's a disease state that's kind of stagnant a little bit, and that treatment's okay, but there's better treatments out there. So it's always a great opportunity for the provider to offer to the patients, but also then to work collaboratively and maybe present on like a new drug target, or um, be able to publish something on that. So it definitely is kind of like all encompassing. It's really great. It's really great for research, and a lot of us that are in the medical field, are interested in finding different ways that we can provide services for our patients.
So research, revenue, and just general helping their patients. I mean, that's
Yes.
probably ultimately
Yeah.
why they would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So have you talked about, or have the three of you discussed already, like your messaging, or like what your pitch, your elevator statement might be to talk when you're talking to new clients?
Yeah. So we have worked on that a little bit. So let me see if I can try to pull it up, or I guess it would be helpful maybe for some suggestions. So, and basically, again, with the focus of a mission vision of collaboration, building foundation, serving our patients. So those are kind of our, you know, mission vision statements. We're sort of working out the elevator pitch still.
Okay. So if a provider comes to you and is, lands on your website, the word collaboration, and that doesn't tell them that they're going to get a clinical trial starter kit, right?
Okay.
I mean, so like, are there words that you would, if I'm a brand new hospital doctor, whatever, and I want to start up a program like this, if I come to your website, or if I find you somehow, um, how would you describe what you'll do for me? Like,
Mm.
what is that?
Would it be something along the lines of helping you build foundations for strengthening your ability to service your patients through clinical trial development or something like that? Would that
Yeah,
work?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
okay?
Like that. I mean, there's a lot of words before you get to the point. You're
Okay.
right. So,
Okay.
what about something like uh, helping your team set up a clinical trial program from start to finish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
So
that essentially what you do?
yeah, essentially. Yeah, that's great. And so you're what I'm hearing from you is like get to the point fast, and so that they can quickly assess, like, is this something that I would need or not? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, right. Did you write that down?
I'll write it down. I mean, you guys should work on it, figure
Yeah.
out what, because one of the things that it's easy to do when you're starting something new, and I'm guilty of this too, is like, well, I can help everybody do everything, but that really is not helpful for the client that you want to work most with. And you
Yeah.
all kind of know who you want to work most with. And, if it is these first timers, just, they really don't know what they're doing, and they can fumble along and they can figure it out. But with you there to tell them, this is the best practice at the very beginning, this is the best way to set up your file system, this is the best software to use, this is, and you
Yeah.
can use, offer your experience.
Hmm.
They want that, and they want to know that that's what you do, right? Because it's probably a lot easier for them to just pay your group to
Hmm. Set it
do
up.
it all,
Yeah.
right, than to try
Yeah,
to.
because yeah, it is. It's kind of like self-sufficient after you set up like the operating procedures, and you kind of set up like workflows, and you kind of decide like feasibility. I mean, really it's kind of self-sufficient after that. Your patients come in, and then you basically prescribe them medication and have kind of a checklist of what you need to do. So that makes sense. Like how can you quickly um relay that message so that they know what are they getting, like what is it that you're getting. And yes, essentially like setting up, building your fundamentals from start to finish for clinical
Well, but
trials
what
or
is
something.
fundamental? So like, I mean, I know that that
Yeah,
probably means something, but
right.
do you need to use that word or can you just,
No,
I
I
mean, maybe
think,
you do, but
yeah, no, I think maybe practices or guidelines. I think I like your idea of like sitting down and having us like write out
yeah,
and maybe like offer it to somebody else and be like, do you know what I do if I tell you this statement? Okay.
exactly. Yeah, no, that's a
Okay.
great idea. If you
Yeah.
kind of, if I were to say this to you, what do you think that I do? That's a
Yeah.
really helpful way to get
Yeah. Yeah.
feedback.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
Good,
Yeah, because
good.
you want them when they come to your website to know exactly what you do in one tagline,
Yeah.
basically, is what I'm hearing from you. Okay.
And when you're talking to people too, because there's a lot of backstory, but the point of, the quick thing that you're doing is you're helping set up brand new clinical trial programs where one didn't previously exist. You're going to make it
Right.
better, right? Or
Right.
you're going to do it the right way so
Right.
that it's good from the beginning and they don't have to, fumble for years to try to figure things out.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are, homework. It sounds like you and your partners are maybe get together and just kind of talk about some of the, kind of clarifying who your audience is and making
Yeah.
sure that you all agree who the small group is. You can still, as you know, when we're looking for something that's hard to find, if we see a company that does a little bit of what we want, we'll go to
Yeah.
them and be like, would you please help me with all this other stuff? I know it's not exactly. So you'll still be able to market or
Right.
help everybody else if they come to you, but who is that small group that really is going to benefit most that you want to work with? And
Yeah.
what do you want to do for them? Like in 10 words or less, what do you want them to
Yeah.
know that you do?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So that is great homework that we can focus on and make sure that that's very targeted. Um, and then once what I'm hearing from you is once you have that like tagline, that can be your elevator speech. Like you just all get used to saying that. Oh, you guys have a consulting organization? Yes, this is what we do. And you say that one line always. You
Yes.
start out with that one line. Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful to know. Us medical people are not always marketing experts. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very helpful.
Good, good, good. Okay, good. All right. Well, this is great. I hope that that gets you at least, one of the steps a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And, during the next session, we can talk about what the next piece is and we'll go from there. Um, but it was great to talk with you
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to hear what you guys come up with next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really it sometimes feels overwhelming and we're really excited about this. When you find a gap and you know that you want to address it, you don't always know, you don't always have all the tools you need. So this is really helpful for me because we have the tools we know will help others, but we don't know how to get that,
Right.
message out there. So this has been really great. I appreciate your insight and your knowledge. It's really helpful.
Oh, good, good. All right. Well, we'll talk soon then. Have a great week.
All right, thank you so much.
That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining, and I can't wait until next time when we help somebody else become fulfilled after 40.